It's the SDG podcast. We're here with the podcasters, Peter Lawrence and Chad Jutner, and I'm Kyle Bacher. Say hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Hey, Kyle, remember that thing where you're going to let us say hello when you say our name so people can associate a name with a voice?
Yes, Chad. I remember that, Chad.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you remember that, Peter?
I did remember that.
All right.
Awesome.
We're going to talk about kind of the transition. We're going to do a retrospective today on the transition from our regular ways of working into this sequestered online workforce.
Just to be clear, Kyle, I joined last year now. You're still in 2020, buddy.
I'm allowed. It's still January. This is the month where you get let off the hook if you.
That's right. You get to write the wrong date on your check.
They used to. I don't know if you're ever familiar with sniglets, which are just funny made up words for things. Checkuary is that month where you're still writing the last year's date on the check.
Nice.
Yeah, but we don't write checks anymore.
What show was that from? I remember Sniglets vividly.
Well, Rich Hall is the
Gotcha.
comedian, and he was on a show called Fridays, where he introduced sniglets.
Are you sure
Which
it
was
wasn't
like an
necessarily
SNL.
the news? Was Fridays
Was that a
first,
show or was that part of Fridays?
No.
Maybe it was a show. Maybe you're right. I get them all mixed up.
We could look on Wikipedia because that exists, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
I would, but my mechanical keyboard is deafening. Yeah. So starting with kind of the March home back in March.
Home. Wow. You tied that
from our
together.
where we were sent home to work. Yeah.
We're chose or we're allowed to go home to work.
Yes. Yeah.
We
were told, at SDG, we were told that we were going to be completely work from home. I think it was the third week in March. It was on a Friday.
Yep.
The tension was palpable.
Well, now,
It was the beginning of the pandemic.
did you start the next Monday?
I think so. Yeah.
So they told you on a Friday and they
Yes.
pack up everything you could possibly need because you're going home. And
There were
Kyle,
many
you're
trips
still in
to the
charge
office the following week. They didn't lock us out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so people were able to get their stuff. So for me, the mad scramble was kind of on two fronts. It was help people kind of fill in the blanks for their home offices, because there's a lot of, we didn't, there was 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
How many webcams did you order?
Most people have webcams built in their laptops. So,
And you just went with that? You said that was good enough?
I've probably ordered 6 webcams in the last year.
Nice.
So we got by. I ordered one for myself. And
Is that what makes you look so good right now?
several others. It's just me. It's just I glow.
Natural beauty. Nice.
Yeah, I use the VO5 hot oil treatment.
So Chad, you were at a small company back in the day.
Yeah, and it's funny because in the before times, I was working for a small software company out of Minneapolis. I mean, we were bought, so we reported to folks in Seattle, but we were essentially our own little software company. And I used to get frustrated when people would abuse the work from home policy, right? Like I'd be like, oh, come on. Like you got to work from home because you have a haircut? Get into the office. All the rest of us are doing it. Now so we just snapped our fingers and instantly everybody was working from home.
Yeah.
It was really, really easy. I mean, especially nowadays, right? Like all our tools are online, right? There wasn't a single, our wiring closet at that little place had our Comcast internet router, and that was it. Like no file servers, no anything on premises. No. So everything for us, it was super, super simple to just switch to all remote.
Do you think that practicing during the rest of the time kind of helped out?
I mean, I'm sure it did, but the company was designed from the ground up with all remote tools, right? Like we didn't even really practice that much. We just, and it's kind of a sign, like that couldn't have happened in any other time period in IT history, right? Like,
right.
Using whatever Bitbucket or GitHub for your source repository, having that all be in the cloud, and all of our cloud tools that we were using anyway made it just simple, like ridiculously simple. All it took really was a Slack message. All right, we're working from home. Done.
The timing as terms of, readiness from an infrastructure point of view for all the cloud services, the timing was perfect. It's like you walk into a dark room just as somebody is plugging in the lamp. Like if it had been a year earlier, it would have been more of a struggle, because Teams wasn't quite there. I don't think the online tools were there quite as well as they are now to handle the glut of people working from home.
I worked at a company that we used Skype for Business, the predecessor, or I don't know,
pre-Teams,
still a Microsoft, coming off of sort of Link, which was sort of Skype when they bought Skype and merged it all the great acquisition stories of Microsoft. But it wasn't horrible because they had enough remote people and I think that's one thing that has really brought this home to me is if everybody's remote, you really use and lean on those tools so much more than if half the people or one of the people are out of the office getting a haircut, right? So if they're out of the office getting a haircut, well, maybe you won't chat with them right away unless it's something you really, really need. But you might wait till tomorrow because they'll be back with better hair.
There's a part of it, though. It's not even that the tools existed. Like I read the story from the guy that did infrastructure for Zoom, right? And he was saying that they were adding hundreds, if not thousands, of AWS EC2 instances to address the capacity like March, April, and May. It just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. And that idea, right? Like that guy didn't have to, call Sun Microsystems or Dell or I'm so used to having cloud infrastructure. I don't even know who you would call these days to order a server, right? And I'm pretty sure Sun isn't a thing anymore. Well, I mean, they're not. It's all Oracle. But the idea that not only did Zoom exist as a thing that helped us, facilitate meetings and all that other stuff, for those guys, AWS was there to handle the capacity issues that they had. And it was, like the guy said, it wasn't simple, but it was simple, right?
So, I mean, that brings up a good point.
Building your own data center on the fly.
Oh, yeah. Just impossible. I've flown out to put 3 computers into a rack for an off-prem type storage, and that was insane. But how did Amazon have that much spare capacity?
That is a fantastic question. I don't even know that it was spare. I think it's just Amazon being magic.
I would have liked to,
You don't think they're
pull some stats to see how much they ramped up in that period of time? I think they're always, Amazon is always adding infrastructure to their data centers. I think they probably have people that do that every day. It's getting bigger and bigger.
Sure.
So I'm guessing it was just throwing more bodies at it. Because
Microsoft
they make
is doing
the hardware fast
containerized,
enough.
right?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Microsoft is doing containerized implementations of their, whatever they're called, Azure, right? So it all fits into a container, and they just drop more containers into place, plug them into the backbone, and they have those servers online, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get a big container ship full of Azure capacity. But it's just amazing to see how everybody is just like, I'm stunned when you say 2,000 instances of, Amazon a month, right? Like Amazon had to be ready for that, but they couldn't have been ready for that, right?
I wonder though. I kind of think maybe they could have been.
Or maybe they just.
Yeah, I think, I honestly, I mean, I'm sure these guys probably had to work with, some genius level solution architect at Amazon to say, well, we have capacity in this data, we have capacity in, Oregon, but Northern California,
Right.
if you did it there, that'd be a problem. Or nobody ever used North Virginia. Is it North Virginia? That's their original data center. That's old. One of the things I read from, I did a deep dive, and there's like, yeah, that was the first Amazon data center. Don't ever use that one because that's where they figured everything out. So that's where there's usually issues.
I think there's no sign of stopping when it comes to creating content and adding services and spinning up companies that need that kind of access to resources in the cloud.
Right.
So I don't know that there's a point where you would let up on the throttle because you might have too much space. Like, oh, now we've got data centers we're not using that are costing us big money. I think the situation is we can just build this stuff as fast as we possibly can because whatever we do is going to get used.
When we plug it in, that just starts the cash machine that we've installed, and it pours cash money in once it's hooked up, I suppose. Huh?
Yeah.
What was the statistic for YouTube content? Like there's 400 hours of content being uploaded to YouTube every second, or it was something mind-boggling. Like
it
the
is
amount
mind-boggling. I don't even know what the number is. That sounds too small, honestly. Like only 400 hours in a second? That's almost.
Well, and think of how many meetings we're recording. We're recording this.
Right.
And I uploaded another video today. I uploaded a video yesterday. I've added myself, one guy has uploaded like 3 gigs worth of content in a day.
Yep.
Or 2 days.
Right.
That's insane. I remember when a 500 megabyte hard drive was big.
I do too. Packard Bell, man. Those were cool little computers with the elephant ears and the whole 9 yards. That was good
I remember
stuff.
when a 10 megabyte hard drive was huge, and you double spaced it to 20 meg.
So at the beginning of this, we had paper processes in place that had to go electronic.
Yep.
And the prior year, we were fortunate enough to get hooked up with a Nintex sign, which is done through Adobe Sign.
Sure.
For our security policy. So we could send that out and have it e-signed.
Yep.
So we had all that in place and we'd already done it, so we knew how to use it. Ben Story, our Nintex genius, had been pushing for that for a couple of years.
Right.
And we finally got there. And then
just in time,
made us ready for, like, there's certain things that just fell into place for us. Like if Ben hadn't been pushing, we wouldn't have maybe gotten there as quickly and we're as ready as we were. But then we were able to do our new hire paperwork, our reviews, things like that. We were able to take that to an electronic format, and where you can do it all offline. You just fill out a form, it fills out your paperwork for you, it submits it for signatures and does all that work for you. And then for the people that do that every week, they have that "where's this been all my life" moment where it's like, well, this is just easy.
Right.
We could have done this. We could have been doing this for years.
Yep.
So I think we're kind of learning about those lessons. Some kind of culture shift in the way we meet online, where people were really reluctant to share their video feeds.
I'm still seeing a lot of that. I think it's a cultural thing depending on where you are. It's a company culture.
Very much,
right? Like it's
very
not,
much so.
Yeah. So, we're at a customer right now, and it's usually just the SDG folks that have their cameras on, and which is great unless there's like 7 people, in a Teams meeting, if you have 7 people and one guy has his camera on, well, that one guy's face is on the screen all the time. So,
Yeah.
you kind of feel like a dope, but I'm okay with it. I don't mind feeling like a dope sometimes. But yeah, I think that just kind of slowly catches as you go from place to place. My last company, the little company I left to become a SDG lifer, started very much that way. Cameras off, nothing,
Yep.
and then it just kind of slowly became the norm. I don't know how it changed or if I said something to make it change, but it just.
I'm guessing one person drove that change by having their camera on for every meeting and being that only person that was there. But slowly somebody else, maybe when they talked one-on-one, they would have their camera on, and so that you'd have that one-on-one stuff. And then slowly, another big change is being able to blur your background, right? That makes it more possible for some of us.
I think if you've got, like, I don't have the knick-knack shelves behind me.
Right.
I don't have the
beautiful knick-knack shelves.
Right.
Those aren't knickknacks. They're posable action figures. All right. They're collector's items. I will not take a single ounce of crap for my posable action figures. Actually, I don't even know if I have any back there.
Or dolls, right? Those are your dolls.
Oh, if you call them dolls one more time, I swear, Kyle. One at my this is a funny story. So we're starting to develop this culture at a client, and one of the fellas, actually, I was on a call, and I always have my stuff on, and there's booze mixed into those shelves too. And then the guy goes, "Oh, it looks like you had a good night last night." I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, I just made a note that we talked on Tuesday, and that bottle of Woodford Reserve was almost full, and now it's half empty."
So you need to start watering down your booze that you keep on your shelf. Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, it was one of my questions. Like, when you go into a place, how do you build like a team? Like, how do you get from just, "Hi, my name's Chad, Peter, and Kyle," to being able to tease each other about how much booze you have on the shelf behind you?
And honestly, that's a big, groundbreaker, right? Like,
I think you have to give that time to happen organically. When people try to force it, and like it becomes I've got these 3x5 cards with icebreaker questions.
Yeah,
those are the best.
But it's like, Chad, how was it connecting as a new employee? I mean, we had talked about that, where you have your orientation, you have a few meetings, but then there's quite a bit of time between them.
I'm probably the wrong fella to ask about that, because I already knew so many of you for so long, right? Like I've known folk from SDG for more than a decade now. Right. I've been interviewed on Fox 9 with folks from SDG. That's a fun story for another time. But it was still like, you meet all the account executives, you meet everybody, and doing it online is not as cool as doing it like going out to lunch with a dude or meeting people at happy hours. That is one thing that once this is all done with, I probably am looking forward to the most, is to be able, one, do this in person, and then two, like actually hang out with some of the SDG folks that I don't know as well at a happy hour, you know? And that is, that and baseball, those are the two things that once this is over, I am going to be stuck in a seat at Target Field, and then before and after that, I'll be stuck in a seat at a bar in Northeast Minneapolis probably. So I don't know. Your original question, how is it? It's weird. It's plastic, right? Like it seems very, I don't know. I don't want to say disingenuous, because everybody is really, they've all been great, but it's, this, and that's not real.
Well, and like, when's the last time you shook someone's hand?
I shook my daughter's hand this morning. That's how we wake up. Yeah.
You guys.
We're close.
Dad, welcome to Friday.
Yeah. I find that I'm really got a sense of connection from drive-bys, where when we were in the office, I would just drop in on people.
Right.
Then I could see what they're up to, what they're working on, how things are going.
If they're crying.
And usually that's when they ask me for help with something that's been bugging them on their computer for weeks. And
Because the printer makes them mad.
yeah. And, now, like, the equivalent of a drive-by would just be placing a Teams call or a Slack call and hoping they pick up.
Right.
And
but
how
it also
often,
seems more urgent, right? Oh, Kyle's calling me in Teams or Slack. I better pick up.
and it seems like, it's a respecting time thing where it's like, it's more polite to set up a meeting or ask somebody if they're available instead of just calling them out of the blue.
I have noticed I am much more cognizant of how much time I'm spending in meetings because in Teams there's a little ticker on the top left that tells you exactly how much time you're spending in a meeting.
Yep.
And then it's just the drive-by aspect of it, and the correlation is the ability to ignore things, like firing off an email and knowing that guy's probably not going to drop by your cube anytime soon. I've had not with SDG, but there have been things where I'm like, really need an answer. And if I were in an office, I would literally walk over and be like, hey, can we, but you can't do that now. It has made parts of the job extremely tricky.
Well, there's also a factor about just being in the same physical space as other people where you're overhearing things in conversation. You're actually pulling in information from the environment.
Right.
That is giving you kind of a better feel of the culture or helping you get to know people better inadvertently or gain knowledge inadvertently.
Right. Or,
which does not happen anymore.
Something like, oh, can I just jump in here and tell you how wrong you guys are about this discussion rather than waiting until code reviews and slamming you for doing things so wrong?
Or even just gaining affinity for one another, getting used to being around one another.
Well, yeah, to your point about, talking about your shelf behind you, getting to that point when you're sitting next to someone is so much faster.
Yeah.
Because you're going to just, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, you got any ideas on this? Hey, how's it going?
I do not miss smelling other people's lunches. I will say that. That is the nice thing about
it. Oh, man.
Even
really
when I was at
fish in the microwave? I
was just going to say, I had the last place I left to come to SDG, there was a kid that saw nothing wrong with throwing fish in the microwave.
Wow.
And I'm usually pretty cool, but I was livid. I'm like, listen, Jimmy, all right, you smell this, right? Like it's a small office. You smell this. That's your fish, and that's going to linger. And it is February. We're not going to crack a window. All right, man? And that part of it, I really, really love not having to experience anymore. That is nice.
So that reminds me of the SDG popcorn burning.
Oh man,
that happened.
Burnt popcorn is one of the worst smells ever.
They had to throw out the microwave because
it
got into the microwave so bad. So, maybe don't push 5 minutes and walk away and come back to.
Yeah, is there no popcorn button?
Yeah. I wonder. One of the things that I've picked up since working from home is now I in the winter and the summer, I've been smoking all of my meats, right? Like you throw in some ribs and you smoke them all day, or I did brisket or pulled pork and all this stuff. And it's kind of nice to be able to leave my desk, throw something into the smoker that I know is going to smoke for, 12 hours.
Right.
Or even 5 hours. So the quality of dinners at home has gone up a bit just because, and not to say my wife was a horrible cook, but I've been able to make more of the things that I want because I'm home. I can do that. That has been nice. I will miss that when we're back.
Hard to throw it on the smoker, go into work and cross your fingers that everything's going to go just perfectly right.
I I bought one that does actually hook up to the internet, so I can control it from my phone. But even if I'm home, I get nervous. Kyle, you're shaking your head. I will make you some pulled pork. It is delicious. You'll love it.
I do like pulled pork.
Yeah, yeah. I'll send you
Which
some.
reminds me,
You'll
I
like
should get a pork shoulder to cook up in the Instant Pot. Make some carnitas. That's good.
So when we do go back to the office, I will miss parts of that, but
I do a lot of sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to smoke them either. I just kind of whip them up. Yeah,
it's still going to be worth getting back to the office for the people, and giving up those few things. Yeah,
and it really is just a couple of. I mean, obviously, it's nice not to have the commute. I've been getting feedback that I need to calm down a little bit because I wake up. I mean, even when we were in the office, I would wake up at 5:30 a.m. I'd go eat breakfast at the same diner in Northeast Minneapolis every single day, and then I'd go to work, and I'd roll into work around 8:30. Well, now I wake up at 5:30 a.m. Still, I'm ready to go. I come down to my desk, and I just start, I have some coffee, and I start banging out a couple of emails or Teams messages, and people are like, hey, listen, calm down a little bit. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I'm excited. I can't really do much else in the morning, but this.
Do you think you'll return to the diner?
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, I think so. I mean, no matter where the client happens to be, I mean, as long as they're in the metro area somewhere, it's a little out of the way, but yeah, I will for sure return back to the diner and make that part of my daily loop, if you will.
Cool.
Kyle, what is the first thing you're going to do on a regular basis post Rona?
I think it's going out, heading out on a Friday, hitting a happy hour, going to see a band, that kind of stuff. Because I came off a couple of years of having a dog with health care issues where it kept me from doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. I couldn't go out and come home at 8:00 at night and give him his insulin shot. I had to be home. You have to really keep them well regulated when they have diabetes. And then he was blind for a while before I got his eyes fixed and stuff. And it just kept me, I turned into a hermit.
So it was kind of a pre-coronavirus practice for you. So
I was locked down, being single and having a dog is, there's no one else that can take care of that animal at home. So it's like, you gotta do it.
Right.
I think it'd be better if I had two dogs that were not sick, but they could keep each other company. And my dog was not that friendly, so people didn't, but I loved him.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the tricky bit. And then, of course, transitioning into major surgery and then recovering from that and then going from that to COVID. I'm like, okay, is there anything else the universe is going to throw at me before I can just go to happy hour and just be out for
happy hour?
I can stay up late and see a band, and come home at midnight and not, be neglecting my dog. So, and now I'm like, being alone in the house without any living thing is tough. That's been the worst part. So now I'm looking to get another dog. It's like, okay, am I just going to end up back in dog prison?
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
Probably.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
But I want to get a dog that likes cats and maybe do like a dog sharing program with my brother.
Ooh.
Where he takes the dog, during the week, and then I'll take the dog on weekends or something like that. Yeah. It's just, it's an interesting problem, and it's just realizing that, just just going out and having different kinds of entertainment instead of it's always movies, TV, games.
Right.
I'm not going to do puzzles. I'm not going to start painting.
Me and my wife have done so many puzzles. Like one a weekend. I think it's been one a weekend. What do you do with a puzzle? What do you guys do with a puzzle after you do it? I'm actually she's gonna get them framed because I'm like, those are pretty pictures.
Shellac.
You take them apart,
frame.
You put them in a box, you put the box in the closet. Then a year or two later, you open the closet, you pull out the box, and you do it again.
There's
Peter, if you turn around and
it's just puzzles and games.
Oh, I thought a bunch of puzzles were gonna fall. Oh, look at that! There's all the puzzles.
Okay.
Wow.
That's what you got to do is start a puzzle sharing program, a puzzle circle.
There you go.
Yeah. And when you just drop off your puzzles at the office,
just so
when
you know,
you need a new puzzle, you just run over there and grab it.
When COVID's over, I'm not looking forward to doing puzzles. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to doing anything except for doing puzzles. Going out, going skiing, going golfing more.
I think
yeah.
I had a small role in jinxing, well, the world with all of this because there's this it's not a band, it's just one dude. His name's John Moreland, just a guitarist, and he sings these slow, like southern, kind of like if you guys know Blaze Foley, like that kind of music, right? Outlaw country guy. And every time he has a concert in Minneapolis, anytime he has a show, he comes by like once a year. And for the last 6 years, I've been trying to see this guy. And something always comes up. And then this year, or 2020, he was going to be in Minneapolis in April. And
Nice.
I told my wife, I'm like, man, I wonder what it's going to be. In February, I told her, I'm like, I wonder what it's going to be this year.
Oh, you asked out loud?
Yeah, I asked it out loud. I'm like, I wonder what the
man.
heck is going to prevent me from seeing John Moreland this year.
Now we know.
I wouldn't have guessed the apocalypse, but hey, it can only, the reasons for not seeing the guy are hopefully going to be less severe in the future than this.
Like a baseball game or something that you have great tickets for or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think if we lived through what they lived through back in like the pandemics of the early 1918,
The 1918 flu.
Stuff like that, just I wonder if we just don't know how awesome we have it, like how easy this is for most people compared to those other days when. Or maybe it was better back then because maybe more people grew their own and were stocked up for long periods of time. And
that bakes my
by
biscuit.
grow your own, I mean food.
That. Yeah. I mean, what were the activities back then? I mean, everybody was whittling. I don't know.
A lot of scrimshaw going on, whittling.
Scrimshaw. I don't believe scrimshaw was the popular.
That's good scrimshaw.
Pastime.
That's good scrimshaw. Yeah, I think. What's this thing now with sea shanties that's going around?
TikTok sea shanties, you bet.
I've never seen TikTok. I've never been on it.
Let's just call it public domain songs that are catchy and can be sung by multiple people.
Is that a thing? That sounds delightful.
Yep. Sea shanties on TikTok.
Wow. Well,
we'll have to check it out. Maybe Wheatloaf will have to do some.
Wheatloaf sea shanty. That's what you need.
I am for sure going to block out some time on the calendar now for that. That sounds neat. I like that.
I used to do karaoke every week.
Did you really? Where?
Up at the Park Tavern.
Oh, okay.
Every Saturday.
Yeah.
Either there or it was at Main Street Bar and Grill in Hopkins for a while. But I always enjoyed that because no one listens to anybody.
No, they don't.
That sounds.
You think you're kind of getting up in front of people, but you kind of realize that it's people will listen for the first few seconds and then they just talk amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Unless you're absolutely horrible or absolutely great, right?
Yeah.
If you're on one end or the other, they might pay attention more.
Nobody wants to hear the middle, but the spectrums are wonderful.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it depends. You don't want to be too good at karaoke, because then you're like a ringer. Then you're like, oh, you're a professional. What are you doing here? How dare you come in here to make us all look bad and show off?
The karaoke circuit would throw you out.
I'm fascinated to learn all the karaoke etiquette that you know, because I will hear it in bars. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew or not, but once in a while I like to also go to a bar.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, but well, hang on a second, because if you've heard it, but I can tune it out really, really easily when it's in the middle. I cannot, and even when it's good. But when it's bad, it's hard not to just have it grate on you. So,
and what I found is you don't really get that many people that are horribly bad in the evening.
Right.
You might get one or two.
No, I mean, maybe a group of people would go out to karaoke and one of the group would be bad, but nobody goes out to do karaoke with the thought of, I'm going to go ruin so many people's nights tonight.
all the people that go there with a group from work or something,
right,
that reluctantly go up are just like, I hope someone asks me. Just I hope I can get up there. Like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it. It's like I kind of hope I want to be on stage. I want to do it. Yeah, yeah. People that have a yearning to perform.
Peter, you never answered the question. What is the first thing post Rona? Like, what is going to be your getting out and not doing a puzzle again? Isn't really a thing. What is the thing?
No, I mean, I miss so many things that were just kind of a regular weekly occurrence that I don't know that like there's oh my gosh, I'm going to go down to such and such a show and do something, right? I want to go out to dinner with my family once a week or something like that. That will be exciting and fun again. Before the Corona, it got to be like, oh yeah, I guess we're going out to eat, but not really exciting because we do it all the time. Now we haven't been out to eat in a restaurant for 11 months or 12 months. And it's going to be exciting. Way more exciting.
I mean, I'd go to the diner every morning, but I never really thought about like how important that was to my daily routine. And not only just the going there, and I know a lot of the guys from the diner now, like a lot of these old guys it's this diner that was built in the Ideal Diner in Northeast Minneapolis, built in like the 40s, late 30s, 40s.
This is one of those things where I don't know if it's a goal to be a regular or a goal not to be a regular at a like if I'm going there so often to be a regular where everybody knows my order's ready for me, I almost feel like I'm doing too, well, maybe I need to back off a little bit.
Am I here too much?
Yeah. Because if they have your order ready for you at a particular time at a bar, that might be cause for concern.
That's a little bit more troubling.
Yeah. But that exact same thing is at the diner. I never change my order, right?
Right.
2 scrambled eggs, 3 strips of bacon, and half a slice of white toast.
You found what you wanted.
Yeah, and 6 cups of coffee, and I'm good.
Right.
That doesn't seem like a problem. The fact that I can go to the 1029 bar down the street, and they see my truck pull in on the video camera that they have on the parking lot and have a grain belt waiting, maybe more of a concern. Even that's not probably too bad though.
I liked being a regular. I think now going back, it's like kind of having to reestablish your regularness.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
It's like maybe there was diehard takeout people that were going to their favorite spot getting takeout like several times a week.
Well, you're trying to keep the place open for when everything gets back to semi-normal, right?
But if you ever want to become a regular quickly, because the older the place, the longer the regulars have been there. It's like when everybody's been there for 20 years, it's going to take you a long time before you're a regular. Yeah. Well, now's the time to sneak in.
Yeah.
Now's the opportunity, huh?
I got so mad. I saw an article online on one of the hipster magazine news online magazine things. I'm even saying it wrong. That's how old I am. But it literally said how to become a regular, and it was like some 1,000 page article. And I'm like, go to a place, keep going, done. Like that's it.
Go
Like,
regularly.
And either be pleasant or be horrible, right? You can be become a regular
It's
either
in the
way.
title, be
Yeah.
there regularly, and you will
Yeah.
become a regular.
Right?
we don't need a TED talk. We don't need a think piece. Just keep going. You're fine.
Bring these. Here's some icebreaker questions on these 3x5 cards. You know,
and
buy
I've been
buy no less than 5 drinks for people that are regulars. Sit
Yeah.
next to regulars and get to know them.
right.
Yeah.
No, and I've been regular at other places, in various parts of my life. I've been a regular at a bar or a restaurant where, it just became often enough that they knew who you were and knew what you were going to order and ask you if you want your usual for the first, couple months, and then bring you your usual because you never said not my usual.
I might be too regular at the 1029 bar. I actually put down the daytime bartender at the 1029 is my emergency contact. So for STG, so if anything bad happens to me, I want that guy to know first, and then he'll call my wife and let her know.
He will fix things for you. He will find somebody to take care of the problem.
He's
Nice.
he knows a lot. So that's a real thing. Steve Spalding. Hey Steve. Thanks for
Shout
listening.
out to Steve.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to doing this live is going to be a blast. I say we figure it out, we get the remote equipment and we do this at a bar somewhere live. Deal with the crowd noise. It'll be like one of those remote episodes of This American Life, right?
There you go.
Kind
Sure.
of kitschy. Little clinking in the background.
I'll meet y'all to do it in the office, but I'm not going to go to a bar and plug in and do this in front of a crowd.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
We'll put
Think
some
of it. Remember
croaky
your
on.
radio
It'll be fine.
broadcast days.
It just seems like a lot of hassle. I'm just used to being home with my 4-piece puzzles. I'm working up to go on the professional puzzle circuit.
There you go.
You'll get there, buddy. I believe in you.
I will say, for a long time, you look forward to working remote or working from home, right? Like, those people that get to do that every single day, they have it so good.
Mhm.
And now that I'm one of those people, I'm like, I cannot wait to go into an office at least some of the week.
Yeah.
I do not want to go there every day. Never have.
I'm thinking halftime would be the right balance. Like even doing half days where I can get up, I can grab my coffee, I can sit at the computer and do stuff in the morning, the stuff I have to get done, uninterrupted work.
Right.
And then head in the office in the afternoon to take care of stuff.
Yep.
And then I think it'll be a good way to break up the day. It'll give you regular time to kind of see people and catch up and have drop-ins and stuff.
Yep.
But I think that the logistically, a lot of stuff will still occur mostly online.
Yeah.
So, are you really going to take an hour and a half? There's no such thing as an hour lunch.
No.
Are you really going to break up that much of your day to go eat lunch just to have a face-to-face meeting? Like that combo meeting / lunch that you have so often. It's like, how about this? How about we have a half an hour face-to-face online and we'll both save time and we don't have to drive all over the place, and it just makes life easier. So I think a lot of that's going to change things.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to save everybody money. Just not having to spend it on the gas and the extra costs for the food and stuff like that. So I see that as kind of sticking around. But I do think that, some people need to get away from their house
Right.
They have busy, hectic households where it's like maybe a home daycare or something like that, where they need to get out of there to focus.
Right.
But I think for the most part,
You
people
can
are not
start a
going to
home
want to
daycare.
really ever go back to full-time on site unless it's preferable to their home situation.
I know it's going to happen. I know that there's going to be a client or 20 that are you're in the office full time unless you have something special and will allow you to work remote that day.
Yeah, I think it'll be less tense for consultants.
I do hope that people will be
to
like, "Oh, work from home, go ahead." We
like
did that for a year. It worked out fine.
yeah, it's like a good test of we trust that you're going to do the work.
Right.
So we don't need to have you here to watch you. And we have the infrastructure in place now that we can support more people working from home. And I think, like if there's a blizzard, it's like it's less stressful to make that decision in the morning. Are other people going to go in? Because there's always that one person that lives in Champlin or lives in like Chisago County.
Yep.
That gets to work at 4 a.m. every day.
Wait.
That is driving a rear-wheel drive car. Like, if I can make it in, everybody else can. Why aren't you here?
Right.
It's gonna be more likely where people can be like, yeah, I know I have a 4-wheel drive truck, but I don't want to drive in the snow if I don't have to.
Get out of my head, Kyle, because I have said that exact thing so many times in Northeast Minneapolis. Yes, I have a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Yes, I've always made it into the office. And yeah, I'm like, hey, why the heck? If I can, I'm an old man and I can do it. Why can't you? That has been a real thing. But you're right. I think it is going to be a lot less stressful, a lot more easygoing. I wonder, current events aside, I wonder if society as a whole, the people that we're going to be working with, once this is all done, if it's just going to be relaxed for a couple of years. Like everybody's just, man, I'm just happy to see you. We'll figure this out. Let's not stress.
Couple of months, I'll give it.
I'm hoping that the politics kind of settle down and we get back into the swing of things and there's some sort of normalcy that's back to where it's just not such madness. Because just that situation and yeah, you could unplug from all of it and then hope it never shows up on your doorstep. But sometimes you just can't look away.
Nope.
And it's really stressful. You just don't have that comfort of just sitting there. Like sitting there watching a movie, like a really relaxed movie, on a Saturday afternoon when it's raining outside.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're in super chill mode and you're recharging your batteries and life is good.
I like rom-coms now. Huge rom-com guy.
There you go.
And you're dead to me. No, I'm kidding.
Yep. No, I'll get you hooked.
I only secretly like rom-coms, but I'll never publicly admit it.
They always end with a happy ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, I think that the proximity to people, there's so much nonverbal communication that happens. Just eye contact is going to be huge to where you're, because there's something about that. There's something about, I think we network wirelessly much better. Right now we have crappy, interpersonal network connections through the online meetings. When you get in a room with somebody, like my powers of persuasion triple when I'm in the room. Like it's a challenge to really make that solid connection with people through a screen.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be fun.
Doing presentations and in the room. the crowd energy is much better. It's just not fun doing presentations online. And then everybody's really quiet and
They're respectful.
they're respectful,
But it's a whole different show, right? It's the 100% Kyle talking, no feedback, no laughing, nothing. It's just you talking.
I noticed that there's just people that hide. They'll attend, but they won't. You'll not hear a peep out of them. Their cameras are off. Their mic is muted. You wonder if they're really there or if they're just getting credit for it. I was in it. I was there. I showed up. Yeah. And they're off doing puzzles while the meeting is happening. Just being able to read the room and know who's checked out.
You can do a puzzle and
I mean, it's nice. It's nice when people can mute their mic and hide their video when they're not really paying attention and they're checking their email and stuff. Because that's really annoying when you're having an online meeting with somebody and they're like, yeah, okay, and they're like working and you don't have their attention and you get sad. So I won't miss that.
For a reason? Have you noticed I've been glancing over at my client's email box over here and?
No,
okay.
I have not.
I've been trying to be really subtle.
All right. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap things up.
It's a great time.
Any other comments? Any parting thoughts?
One more time. I can't wait for happy hour. That's it. Parting thought.
Yeah.
Happy hour.
All right.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Let's do an online happy hour one of these days. All right.
Let's do an in-person happy hour the first week. Let's just do it.
When we can.
Right when we can.
Immediately. We'll all PTO day, company happy hour, all day long.
Oh
yeah. That sounds awesome.
Steve will open the doors.
It's gonna be a train wreck. There's gonna be an Uber spike.
Uber spike.
People are gonna cut loose. It might not be pretty. So, all right. With that, it was the SDG podcast. Thanks for listening. If you want to drop us an email, reach out at thepodcasters@solutiondesign.com. Until next time, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.